Yeah.
There he is.
Hey, everybody.
Hey, Charlie.
Hey.
Is Barbara gonna do this?
No, she's not.
No, she's traveling.
I'll give you space.
Literally, today, she's gone to the.
Sorry, I couldn't be there in person. I was meeting with a coach in the field, and it was closer to get back to my house and be late to the DPW.
3:00, right on. Okay, I'll call a meeting of the Nantucket Cemetery Commission to order for Wednesday, May 10th. I declare we have a quorum present. And we can do business. So first item, public or commissioner comments. We had a night ceremony for a friend last week ago Tuesday. And it was nice. Everything was.
Did they work out?
Yes, thank you, thank everybody for making it.
That was May 2nd.
Yes,
And we went back and we put the stuff.
So anyway, it was a really nice, it was very simple and all, but I thought well done. Everything was taken care of, the hole was dug.
Nice. Yeah.
and there was an opportunity, everybody sort of wanted to walk the entire cemetery and look at everything.
Right, exactly.
And then I had, and that I directed to somebody else who probably get in touch with you about this. And I understand that Tanya Eldridge contacted you about a lot.
How many other?
Tanya.
Tanya
Oh,
Eldridge.
oh yeah, she mentioned something at the cemetery and I told her, I gave her my number, I think, and I said,
You haven't spoken to her since?
no.
Eldridge or Aldridge?
Eldridge, E-L-D-R-I-D-G.
There are a lot of them here.
I thought from what she said to me that she had been in touch with you since.
Not since the event out there, but.
Well, I will tell her that,
What I told her, I gave her my number, and I said, give me a call, I'll meet you at the cemetery, and I'll show you
yeah,
what we
yeah.
have. I also explained that we're gonna be laying out some plots, so.
Well, maybe she's just waiting for that, but
It could be.
apparently she has the intent.
Okay, any other commissioner comments?
I have some, I don't know whether it's now or later, but I emailed you about this business that Dylan Fernandez has gotten a grant to quote replace veterans
Veterans.
stones. And,
You
but
know,
we never heard anything about it.
let's do that formally under new and old.
Okay,
And yes, we definitely should. We definitely should have something to say about
To
it.
say about it, because even though the money goes to the VFW or whatever it is. Okay, approval of minutes, we had minutes from our April 12th meeting.
I read them and I move we accept it.
Second. Favor?
Let's do it by roll call.
Call. Scotty?
Aye.
Brian?
I,
Lee?
Aye.
And chair votes aye.
Okay, now I can say that we took attendance and because we're being recorded.
Yes, right, thank you. Conditions at Old North Cemetery and proposed work order items. We did an informal site visit a month ago, or whatever that was. And we noted some improvements or some things that were needed in the cemetery. First, the sign, that's the Reuben Joy sign, is that the one? That's down on the right, okay, so.
well, no, it's not down, the one side, it's standing, but it's so weathered that it's just an eyesore.
Yeah, it's still ledges. I guess that's.
So that was what, Reuben Chase?
Reuben Chase.
So, the feeling, the sense was that sign should either be removed. We had discussed, well, The alternative would be to replace the sign. And the original sign, the cemetery, I have no idea who put that sign up.
I do. It was the Sons of the American Revolution, and it was originally put up in the 1930s. And I'm sure the wooden sign that's there now postdates that.
Yeah.
But it was initiated by an organization that I very much doubt exists in any way. So we had discussed bringing it to the attention of the Daughters of the American Revolution, but I don't believe any of us have done that.
No, I haven't. Do you know who's, oh, I'm sorry.
Did we discuss that formally here on April 12th, or was that what we were talking about in the field?
This is something we were thinking about. We did bring it up and discuss it before we went
Right.
to look at it. And now we're back and having looked at it, we're talking about it again.
Okay, we should discuss, but I think we should be responsible for replacing it because nobody else will.
Mhm.
And it is a piece of Nantucket history,
Yes.
both the fact of the sign and then the facts contained in the sign.
In any case, what's there now needs to go because it's unattractive.
No, it definitely needs either to be removed or to be replaced.
And I think we agree that it really should be replaced. So can we, will our sign maker here at DPW take that on?
I'm not sure. I've talked with Ray several times. I mentioned the sign to him. I spoke with him most recently, it was just a couple of weeks ago, and reminded him about the sign. His comment was that he hasn't been spending much time in the sign department because I know they've got him doing other things and so on. So I'm not so sure that's a project that he could undertake.
Eventually. Charlie, can we put in a work order through the DPW to replace the sign?
Sure.
Okay,
I suggest that the sign be removed and brought here because it is still legible, but barely. And if it's left there much longer, we may not be able to recover what it says.
yeah,
So could we bring it in soon and then wait for whenever there's time to get a new one made?
Sure, absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
so that's the motion.
Now, I would like to make a motion that proof from the DPW remove the Reuben Chase Memorial sign in Old North Cemetery and bring it here for safekeeping until a replacement sign can be made and installed.
Okay, we have motion and second. Any further discussion on the motion? Seeing none, roll call vote. Lee?
Aye.
Fran?
Aye.
Aye. Sure votes aye.
Great.
Okay, that motion carries. Now I see we have Walter with us.
Yes.
Walter, welcome to our meeting.
Thank you.
Walter is with Ludlow Monuments, and the conditions of the condition of the cemetery in general, and particularly the stones that were done. I'm just trying to remember now
Well,
what.
did one of us make a list?
Yeah. Based on our observations, the positive part is we really like the look of the stones that had been repaired or renovated.
Mhm.
One or two of them has collapsed since then. And we need to get that back up. And then what we discovered is that perhaps our work order or our request for work had a gap in it, because now we've got lovely biologically cleaned stones sitting amongst those that have not been touched. And eventually we need for the whole cemetery to be cleaned, but that may take a separate work order. I'll leave that to Charlie.
Yeah, so as far as the cleaning of the stones going forward, that's something we can, we can add into to the next cemeteries for the scope of work. It will increase them, I would say, probably significantly from, repairing, say, like in this case, I think it was 33 stones to, putting hands on all, we'll say 100. So there will be an increase for the projections that we have for the cemeteries.
We have discussed, maybe 2 meetings back about, summer interns or volunteers being trained to do that. Is there any possibility?
There is. I haven't had a chance to do any sort of outreach. I don't know if the commission has, or we've got potentially the young gentlemen who had helped us last year with some cleanup stuff, but I have not been contacted by them yet, as far as whether or not they're coming back. And I think was Barbara reaching out to the school? I believe a few meetings back, or
Reaching out to the school didn't produce any positive results. But in the past, all the stones in the historic College Cemetery and those stones in the Quaker Cemetery were cleaned by the DPW staff. And right now, it's just sort of visually awkward to have some very bright, clean stones amidst a lot of stones that haven't been cleaned. And I think our preference as commission would be to have them all clean.
In regard to the cleaning with the D2 cleaners,
Yes.
we noticed, because we did a couple stones that we repaired, and say there was there was a couple stones next to it. We tried to get some of the residue off the stone and spray it, even though it wasn't on the list, because they were in proximity with the stone that was on the list to be repaired. Mm-hmm. Applying that D2, it works over a period of time, and it does get brighter and cleaner as it stays on there. Sometimes it takes a couple applications, but for it to work best, the removal of the lichen and some of the dirt that's on the stone, if lightly cleaned and then applied, if you plan it right with the weather and you do get some rain and you get some warm weather, the stones will turn quicker. They'll become whiter. It might take a couple applications, and it might take a little bit over the summer. We're working on a cemetery now where you can definitely see a noticeable difference, even within a couple of months. We
were very satisfied with the results in the historic College Cemetery and the Quaker Cemetery. And I think we would like to see each cemetery in turn that we do some restoration work in, to end up with all of the stones cleaned, because that gives a positive visual impact to people as they pass by, and I think it gives us more community support. If we say we're working on the cemetery and then they can see, then instead of saying, well, I don't see much difference, they will.
The treatment that they gave them, Quaker and the historic colored, was Rob McNeil did.
Yeah.
And it was spraying the D2. I don't think there was the lichen, the lichen removal. I just think they sprayed it.
They sprayed.
And that was pretty satisfactory to start with.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what we're looking for.
Right. As I recall, in the Quaker Cemetery, I believe they did 2 applications.
Yeah.
There was some time between them. They did them once.
And I think that was a sort of a pilot project, because they said we'll do 1 application and then we'll examine the ground around the stones, etc.
Right.
But then I think for the historic College Cemetery, I think it was just 1 application, wasn't it?
It may have been 2. As Walter said, after the second application, and there was time, probably some worrying between them, But those stones did get brighter and brighter and,
And inscriptions that were unreadable
Exactly.
became readable. I mean, Barbara White's students had transcribed most of the inscriptions, but after the cleaning, we discovered texts we hadn't even known were there.
We just think that it would complement Walter's work because it stands out so nice that if we could just do what was done to those two cemeteries,
right,
that would
Yeah.
kind of balance it all out.
all right.
Thank you, thank you for the compliment. When we were doing the stones, we noticed that some of them, you know, on the age difference of the stones, you get that sugary, Scott, you know, that sugary marble. And a lot of times they did it here in Amherst. They soaked the stone so much with water that it actually hurt the inscriptions and the detail of the stone. So when we have volunteers come, we really monitor how much water they use and the D2, because it's kind of like a hand to application of the chemical to let the chemical do a lot of the work. But you have to kind of get the chemical to the point where it's going to do its work. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, then everyone has to understand that it's not immediate gratification.
but
It's
but
over time you notice.
But I think we all understand.
Yeah.
Well, but there is over in the part of the cemetery where there are not a whole lot of headstones, there are two pieces of a stone. It's on the ground, and clearly there were more pieces that aren't there anymore. And one of them is sort of laying on a piece of plywood. And what should we do about that?
Some of this, when the major issue with some of the old marble stones is they're very porous, and they pull the moisture out of the ground. And when
I think this one is slate.
Yeah, Walter, it's a slate tablet that has shattered into quite a few pieces. And I imagine if you went there and dug down, you'd find the other shards.
Mhm.
Someone must have tried to salvage it and what was there and put it on top of a piece of plywood so it wouldn't sink into the ground.
okay,
That's my guess.
Well, what should we do about it? Can you give us some guidance?
you find the pieces, and we can get some slate. It's hard to get to match that, some of the black slate, but some of the pieces, either you put a backer on it, you know, a backer stone, Scott, or you can go over there and pin the pieces together and try and salvage whatever you can. I don't know how big or how bad the pieces are, what kind of slate it is, but I noticed that some of the brownstone, the sandstone on the right-hand side as you go in, the tops really should be fixed because they're going to delaminate.
Right.
You see, we're on is probably about 4 or 5 rows down on the right-hand side from the driveway. There's some brownstones there that you really have to be very, very tender with, and probably should get injected with an epoxy, you know, and the mortar sealed on the top so that there's no more water damage going in, you know?
I noticed one yesterday. I was down in the cemetery, and there was one of, just like you described, you could see along the top of it how the layers were sort of starting to peel away.
Delaminating. Yeah.
Delaminated. Okay.
Exactly how many stones do you think there are in Old North that need that would require spraying? Couple hundred?
Yeah, a couple hundred.
How many stones are there altogether in that
Oh,
cemetery?
well, Walter, I would go back, if I were to give you a real solid number, I would go back to your report. I'd count the stones and then I'd count the ones that you repaired and subtract.
Well, yeah, right. You know, but I'm saying overall.
Yeah,
I mean-
the report doesn't include, the report only includes the damaged stones.
Oh,
Those would have been all the ones that were repaired, not the entire count of the cemetery.
You remember how many damage there were, Charlie?
In this, I believe there were. A second, I can look this up.
Because I would say that's hardly 20% of the amount.
I think there were maybe, I think we chose this one because of the money we had available, and I think we were somewhere around 33 to 40 stones
there's-
that got repaired.
Yeah,
And I believe when they chose, my guess is when Rob chose Quaker and the historic colored cemeteries for the D2 solution, he chose them because they're the two lowest in number, so they were, easy to get done. I mean, there's, I'm looking at the aerial image and there's, easily over 100 stones in Old North. I believe the historic colored cemetery itself has got, I was counting that a second ago, and I believe that's up 120, and this is easily, I would say, 3 times the size. And then, and then obviously New North Cemetery and Newtown only grow from there.
Walter, there is the one stone that had been repaired and cleaned bright white, but since then it's fallen over and is on the ground. We all looked at that, and I wonder if something can be done about that.
that I believe you're speaking, is that the Gibson stone?
I don't know.
It's kind of 6 rows in, about 20, it's about 7 rows down, 6 in, 20 in maybe.
Roughly, yeah.
And that's the one, it was in the ground, and we had to dig the pieces. They were buried into the ground, and there really wasn't anything left to it. It would fall apart as we tried to fix it. It fell down when we repaired it, and we came back and
Ah, yes,
it fell down again because I don't.
we have it right
Can
here.
you see that, Walter? It's the Gibson stone, mate.
That it is the Gibson, right? Yeah, I think the only thing may.
Hey, Scott, can you find the slate one that we were looking
I
at?
don't know if I've got that, Frank.
Was that this Gibson stone, Scott?
Was.
now, I'm speaking personally, not for the commission, but I'm perfectly happy to sister, or what you call back, so that the history of the stone is there, even though it's not perfect.
I think what we could do is find maybe some type, try and put it back together, and maybe try some type of support behind it or on the sides or something
Sure.
to try and keep the integrity of it.
Do people ever set these just flat in the ground on some kind of with a little border and a base of something? Have you
It's been done.
haven't seen that, but I was just wondering.
It's been done. Set them in some type of mortar
Yeah,
or something. I mean, they couldn't drive on it when they do the lawn. That's the only thing. You wouldn't want them to
Right.
run the lawnmower over it.
yeah.
I have another question. The broken part of it seems to be below the inscription. Would it be acceptable to simply cut it off straight immediately below the inscription and then reset it as a shorter stone?
Yeah, we could take and cut it there, cut it below the inscription, and then maybe make a slot base for it, so it fit inside a concrete.
And
You know,
that- It would be upright and it would preserve the information on it.
correct. Yes, that could be done.
I feel that would be more appropriate than trying to preserve the whole thing.
Right.
Because what is important is, I think, the top of the stone and not the broken pieces.
Right.
Yeah, there's nothing below the dates.
Yeah, fortunately, where it broke.
Yeah.
Let's think about, I would like to see that done. What
Okay.
about everybody else. Do you agree?
Yeah,
Yes,
that sounds reasonable.
I think we have to add that into scope of work for the next project.
Right,
Yeah.
And then that be one of the things that gets done.
right,
as well.
exactly. Yeah.
They have to come up with the stone.
so just for a short report from annual town meeting on Nantucket on Saturday, May the 6th. You may not have read the articles that passed without a discussion, one of which was the operating budget for the town and county of Nantucket. Embedded in it was a statement that $70,000 of this budget would come from the sale of cemetery lots. And so Charlie had said to me that we have a fund, we have a fund that we can draw on for operating costs.
Excellent. Thanks for that information. I hadn't seen that. I thought it might have gotten forgotten
Yeah,
from the
I
overall budget.
thought in the warrant, and I assumed that that was what we had been talking about with Charlie.
Did that require a vote?
Oh, yeah.
No, I mean, a vote at the election coming up.
Oh, no. This doesn't require an override. It's the town's operating budget.
Yeah.
It's the capital items that might
But
require.
which passed without.
Right, exactly. Okay.
Excellent.
Okay,
So
so-
that's good to know. So we'll have that budget that we can, work, because a repair item like this would be separate from the restoration work that we have upcoming. And then, Walter, maybe when you're out here to do that stone wall stuff, we can, maybe take a look at Quaker one more time, and we can, because we've already got a, if you're still comfortable with the number you gave us on that, once the fiscal new year comes, we can roll right into maybe doing that repair and couple that with coming out to do the Quaker Cemetery.
Okay, now, when we had the Quaker, I think we're keeping that quote, what we had. I'm not, I don't remember, but I know it wasn't on the list to be updated. Because a lot of them they're already, there's probably what, 30 or 40 stones there, Quaker?
Yeah, I think the grand total is 46.
Oh,
But
Yeah.
the number on the scope of work that we're looking for to be repaired is less than that, I believe.
Right.
I think it was maybe a dozen,
We're gonna straighten a bunch out or something, or I'm not 100%, I don't remember it 100%.
Yeah, I'll email back the quote to you, and we can, because I know it was way beyond the 30 days normally that people will hold a price for, and you can let me know if you're still comfortable with it, and then we can move forward.
Okay,
Again, we'll have to wait until the fiscal year turns the corner to get that operating budget, then we can start work on Quaker Cemetery, and then any repair work that we'd like to do in Old North, and then we will, the other cemeteries will have to go out to bid because they will, the size of the repair work.
right. Yeah, that's no problem. We can go over there and what we'll do is we'll go over there and try and put a number together for you, like per stone, just to kind of preliminary clean it and apply the D2
Okay, yeah, for Old North.
front and back,
Excellent.
just so you have some kind of an idea of where that might be.
okay.
We had planned, everything was planned as like I sent you an email that we were getting the ferry on the 20th.
Yep.
Then they moved it because of the size of the truck we're bringing, and now they moved us up to the 28th, which is on a Sunday.
Yeah, Memorial Day weekend.
Yeah, Memorial Day weekend. So so we're getting kind of tossed around back and forth, but we're being vigilant.
Yeah. So it looks like I just pulled up the estimate. So it looks like it was for 13 marble tablets to be straightened, realigned, excavated if necessary, washed and cleaned. So I guess my question to the commissioners would be, since it's 13 of, I believe, 34 maybe, or 46 total stones, I believe there. Do you want me to change that for the wash and D2 solution? Do you want to have all the stones retouched at Quaker?
Well, they have been cleaned. I don't think that they're,
Fran, I would respond to Charlie, yes, because right now they look very uniform. But against one that was cleaned recently, I think you would see a color difference.
oh, okay.
They look good now because they're uniform, but there will be 13 that will be brighter.
Okay,
Alright, so Walter, is there any way, we could adjust that to include, say, washing and cleaning all 46 stones?
Yes, and straighten them out and fix the foundation here or there.
Yeah, I think it's per the report, I think it's 13 that need work. The other ones I believe are all straight, but if we could include the repair, the straightening, I'll email this back to you.
Okay,
Or it's estimate 431, if that makes it easier to look up on your end.
yeah. Yeah. I
Yeah,
can
because
look-
the date on this was September.
Okay,
So if you want to take a look at that, maybe add in, the cleaning of all 46 stones to the repair work of the 13, and then let me know where you think we'll land on that, and we can we'll
Okay.
work from there.
yeah, all right, we can do that. We can do that.
All right, that way at least that cemetery will be done. And then if you want to take a look when you come out around Memorial Day weekend at a repair costs for those stones, what your recommendation might be to fix anything that's broken still, whether it be laid in concrete flat or stood up and braced.
Yep,
Your recommendation for there, and then maybe a number to D2 the whole the remaining stones at Old North.
okay, we can do that.
Great.
Some of the some of the stones there, like I said, there is a significant difference between the two. When you drive through, you can almost pick the ones out that were cleaned and repaired. And I understand what you're saying, where you kind of would like the whole cemetery to at least start to look restored, so when I go there, I'll take a look so I can get some square footages of how much material actually we would need on the D2 for, at least a couple applications.
Okay, the ones at Quaker Cemetery are, as I said, they've been done in the last couple of years.
but as Lee said, if the ones that get repaired are clean now, they will stand out and
They will be
the
different.
others.
Right.
Not materially so, but they will be.
I'm thinking in terms of one more application rather than having to go back 2 times.
Oh, definitely,
Yeah.
definitely. I think stones being cleaned in Old North will need 2 applications, but in Quaker Cemetery, I should think 1 would be sufficient.
Yeah. Okay.
In Quaker Cemetery, just be sure of the count, because I was under the impression that there were 52 stones, and Charlie said 47, and then I heard him say 46.
He said 46 both times.
Yeah,
It
so,
could be. I just did a quick aerial count off the aerial photograph from Google Maps, so we'll have to put,
I see.
just so we had just as a ballpark.
Remember,
I can meet Walter there. We'll take a look at it and get an actual count.
Yep,
there are 2 more modern stones
Right,
that
there
are
are.
in Interior and then some on the
Yeah.
Quaker
Yes.
side.
There are.
Okay, anything else we want to?
Thank you so much. It's
Anything
really
else?
nice to chat with you.
Yeah, thank you, Wilson.
hey, yeah, thank you very much for having me.
Okay, so a social venture is if you get stuck on Nantucket and are thinking of sleeping in the cab of your truck, let us know. We'll find something.
Absolutely.
I appreciate it because that almost happened once. So, yeah, we missed our ferry. We missed our ferry. We almost did stay there, and we were thinking we might snug up in the truck.
Well, once the Quakers from Sandwich came over for a meeting, and we had a 3-day nor'easter, and Nantucketers all over town took in a Quaker.
Okay,
Yeah.
Charlie, do you need anything official from the commission?
I don't think so. Once Walter comes and takes a look, he'll generate an estimate for me, and then we'll talk numbers with the commission at a future meeting.
Okay, good.
And Charlie, when you walk around the Memorial Weekend, can you show Walter, is it on Old North, that other slate one that's broken? It's in the cleared area, kind of on top of the hill.
On the left.
Yeah, yeah.
And if you wonder, it's easy to be sure which one it is because it's sitting on a piece of plywood.
And
Yeah.
by the way, if you need any of us to come out with you,
Yeah, we're here.
give me a call or give anyone else the call.
Well,
Alan, he'll call us.
what I'll do is I'll keep you all informed about our reservations on the ferry so that we can, you know, because we'll probably go, it's on a Sunday, I believe. As it stands right now, it's the 28th, which is a Sunday at 4:15. That's what they told us. So we would be there on Monday and we might stay there. I might work on a couple things, walk around, but I could always meet you on a Tuesday, Charlie, you know, or anyone.
Yeah, I might have to, do you know how long you guys are planning on staying out for? Currently, I'm actually not gonna be, I'll be off the 26th to the 30th. I'll be back on the 31st, which will be that
Okay.
Wednesday.
Once we get our truck here, you know, we can go to Hyannis and we can always hop back and forth. That's not a problem. The problem is just trying to get
Yeah, get the vehicle here.
everything that we need because we still have some more work to do for Dave at the
Wastewater.
plant there at the sewer station, you know. So we're just trying to wait for deliveries for him to come in so that we can try and get everything on one truck.
Yeah, no, that's fine. If Monday, you know, Monday or Tuesday works best for the commission, they all know exactly what they're looking to have done.
Okay,
So if they're willing to meet, that's fine with me.
we'll keep everybody in tune of our schedule.
Sounds great.
Okay, anything
Thank
else
you.
on Old North?
What?
Nothing.
No. Okay.
Walter, again, good to see you and thanks for attending. By the way, you're welcome to stay for the meeting if you'd like.
No, I'm good. You guys got your business to do. I just, you know, if you do you have any idea when the other New North and the cemeteries will be coming up for bid?
I gotta look at budgets once we get, it won't be, we probably won't put them out until after July, once we know
Okay.
we've got that budget number and we'll see how we want to do it, because I know we're gonna have to go back for probably some CPC funding.
Okay.
To fit, in order to be able to finish the cemeteries, so I'll look at the number they gave us for the breakdown, and then I've got a rough idea of the per stone cost for the repair work, and then if you can give me in the breakdown for this stuff, per stone cost to clean
Yes.
as well, I'll be able to add that in and figure out what it'll cost to do each of the cemeteries, because as it is, you know, New North Cemetery and Newtown, I had somewhere in the ballpark of, we'll say, you know, 70 to 80,000, which will obviously require some funding from us.
We have been talking about after Quaker that, didn't we say we wanted to do Historic Cullen Cemetery next?
Yeah, I'm just talking about the bigger ones, you know, that we'll need to get money for.
I would love to see Newtown Cemetery done, but it's so big that we have to really.
Yeah, like I said, just the repair cost for Newtown was we'll say between 70 and 80, and then if we add in D2 treatment of every stone there beyond the repair, that will increase the cost a fair amount.
I'll go and I'll stay in touch with everyone to go and really get some hard numbers and see if we can maybe get an idea so you really have a hard number for just an application of D2.
Excellent.
Good.
Thank you.
Thanks again.
Okay, Walter, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Have a good afternoon, everyone.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, next item, hopeless land transfer update.
Is there one?
No.
Come on.
Well,
come
I
on.
was just talking, the surveyor up there, that was Leo as Dorian. And he's the one who has been going back and
I'm moving sticks.
yeah, right. So he's all set. He's given the information to Rick Burdett, who's the attorney for the Hicks. And we haven't heard back from the Hicks or, you know, whatever.
Can I say that if it keeps going in this direction, that we should just settle on putting stones down on the backside of Office the way we have?
Yeah,
Because we can't wait forever.
no, I realize that,
Again,
yeah.
another 7 years.
Well,
Because
no.
we're there, we're nearly there.
The ones we're gonna lay out, the ones who already have the things for
Yeah.
are on our property.
Yeah.
We haven't even gone into
Yeah.
those yet, so you're absolutely right, we don't.
Because I thought we were pretty close when we had the meeting.
Well, that was my thought, I said,
And,
forget it, you know, we, you
yeah.
know, let them stew in their own,
Yeah.
you know, whatever. So anyway, that's the update. Ken Bogrand was in the hospital yesterday, so he, this was scheduled, something. So he is not
Oh, he's
available
not here today.
today for any update. I'm sure he hasn't heard anything, because if Leo hasn't heard anything. Anyway. Okay,
Did Rick say that we could reach out to him at any time? Or is that Ken's?
well, Leo has been in touch with Rick.
Okay.
Leo and Rick talk.
Yeah,
It's the Hicks don't seem to talk to their
Oh,
attorney.
okay.
Anyway, that's the issue. I think.
This is off the record, although it will be on the recording. The attorney did confess when we were out there face to face that this was not his highest priority.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, I know.
Because
Well,
that's what
right.
we're talking about.
Yeah, the new lots that we have the markers for,
They're all on the existing property.
all on our existing property. We don't have, it's nothing to do with the land transfer. So the question is then, when are we gonna do it? And how, who, you know, who and how are.
How do we do it?
Well, this is, I'm sure Charlie will give us some guidance on this.
Well, my thought was, you know, I'll share this with- when we laid out the initial plots, the plots that are up there, Lee and I were up there.
With string and,
No, we had, the surveyors from the water company. Remember, Bob Gardner was on the commission and so on. So he volunteered because they have all this incredible equipment where they can just put the stuff in the ground and say, here. I think, what did we take, 2 hours to put all those?
Yeah, they were using a Trimble GPS machine.
Yeah, exactly. So,
but we don't have
no, we
that
don't,
help this time.
we don't have that, so,
But the hard work's done, like we know where everything is.
right,
And if we,
I'm gonna move that we do this formally and that Charlie file a work order with DPW for the layout. And
I would kind of like to be up there to
oh, yeah, without question, whenever it's scheduled, we will go up and help.
So the plan, I think we discussed this 2 months ago. The suggestion was to have either a piece of rope with 4-foot things.
string, yeah.
Yeah, and just use that, because we already know where the rows are.
Mhm.
All of the new rows that were going to be installed are adjacent to
Off the grid.
Yeah, they're all adjacent to the existing ones, so that we can either take a tape measure and, you know, because we know, make sure we're in a straight line and go along, 4 feet to get the bottoms done and then go up 6 feet this way and,
That would get it done the quickest.
yeah,
Is the old fashioned Lee, Allen Scotty method.
exactly.
And I think we really do need to be quick because demand for lots is continuous. We really need more lots.
I know, I'm meeting someone up there tomorrow who,
Oh, really?
wants to buy a lot and they already have the ashes and everything,
Wow.
so anyway.
How many new lots are we adding?
Hmm?
How many new lots are we adding?
We're adding, I believe it was 100 and some, 115 maybe or something like that. But I think I have an exact fact somewhere.
Charlie, you had a count.
Well, we did, it was 100, I think it was 194 corner markers that were done, but that doesn't necessarily equate to the total number of lots.
Okay, somebody, I need help. The system is requesting a log off or restart. Would you like to proceed?
Just go no.
Good. Okay.
We're hoping that we're still connected.
Yeah.
I can still see you.
All right,
So what was the count?
we're doing this now.
We're doing this and these over here.
Charlie, you had a count when you ordered up the markers.
I thought I had a number.
Oh, yeah, but the number of markers is, it's four, it was 4 markers essentially per lot.
Yeah.
But they over the it was like 194 markers that got ordered.
Which is
So it'd be slightly less on the number of
Uniform lots, it says.
stones
There it is.
or lots.
right.
I thought I'd written it down somewhere. Okay, so anyway, so the question is, Lee's suggestion to
Do a work order.
get a work order, or Charlie, what's your feeling about this? I mean, if we have, say, we have 2 commissioners out there, I would think that 2 people, we can put those in and
Let's say is it half a day? 4 hours?
I'm thinking, yeah, at the most, I would think.
Yeah. Once we have the line.
Yeah, exactly, because once we have the line stretched out and, have to, or however we're gonna measure them.
Is it better for us to do it on our time than to get a work order and wait for that?
I mean, I wouldn't want to send the guys out alone.
Alone? Like, no.
Yeah, you'll want to. I would think you might want to be there, and it's, because you want to make sure that when the markers go in, because there are 4 corners marked on the, that when it gets put into the ground, that it's kind of oriented
Yeah.
correctly.
Exactly.
Um,
That's why I want to be there.
Yeah, so I think would need a work order to put all the markers in the cemetery, as opposed to, I feel we could probably lay out new lots.
Oh,
without a
isn't
work order.
that all we're doing, just the new lots?
Yeah, well, I don't think we're talking about putting all the corner markers in yet, right?
Correct, yeah.
Yeah,
We're-
because we've got corner markers for everywhere. New ones.
Oh, we do. Oh,
Is that right, Charlie? You got 192 of them.
there's 100. I think there's 194 discs
Yeah, so we've got discs for every.
for every intersection of a lot. There's a disc.
these are the new ones.
Yeah.
These and these are the new ones.
Yeah.
Plus these rows.
Yeah.
And that should be 124 for just the new ones.
So, but we have also corner markers for all the ones that are already existing.
I don't think so.
I don't think so. I think that the corner markers we have, because they're the discs. Well,
I think we do we, Charlie?
So the only ones that got remade would be the border of the existing lots. So say,
All right, so we got,
say if A, say, I don't know what the first number of the existing is, where it would have only had the mark for, say, the lower left corner of the lot or the lower right corner to start. That disc would get replaced with a lower right and an upper right, because we're now adding, say if it was lot A2, we're now putting A1 above it. And so we now continue, that mark will get changed out. So it's all the new ones that are drawn in pen on that map.
but
Yeah.
it-
Oh, yeah,
it's
no,
the
that's-
new ones.
exactly.
We don't have to go in there.
And I suppose we don't have to do them all in one day. We could do this section or this section first.
I'm going to suggest, in the spirit of belts and braces, that's hold your trousers up with a belt and your suspenders, that we put in a work order, which we can cancel if we get the work done.
Okay.
If they can do it quickly, then we'll join them.
And we would be there.
Well, you will be there one way or the
Either
other.
way, yeah.
Because, yeah, we want to be sure that we get them all in the right place.
But if it takes a long time,
Yeah.
we should go with the plan to, okay, let's just do this area. And if you're kind of going pretty well,
Right.
we can do that.
We'll
and-
vote that.
no.
Okay. All
And
right,
I'm not sure what the best method is. I think you know, do you get a 4-foot stick and you find one and you kind of, you know, lay it down, or is it better to have, you know, to go out with the guys one day and set strings?
I think strings and like 100-foot tape.
Yeah, a little bit of geometric checking will keep our lines parallel rather than converging.
Yeah, I mean, because we could, you know, we haven't, either we could talk to the water department, or we also have an on-call surveyor. We could have them go out and, you know, extend out the sides, you know, and make a few pin marks for us, and then, you know, have the guys go out and set the strings.
So, Charlie, could
That's a
you,
good idea.
could you fit it into your schedule and simply let us know when we should show up?
Yeah, I will. I'll talk to Ray and the guys, and we'll see what we can work in. I'm not sure. I know they've got a lot of stuff coming up, you know, in this month, trying to get ready for Memorial Day and prep. So it may not, you know, and then it may happen in June, and then I'm not sure what we have prep for 4th of July. So it's possible it could be a July project.
Preferably the hottest part of the summer.
Yeah, you would save it for a nice day in August, because there's a lot of shade at the cemetery there.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll try to work it in with everything we have. You know, again, it's tough that the crew of guys is really only 13 men to take care of the whole island. So it's
Yeah.
uh,
Well,
I think if
we
if
should
we
keep in
get,
contact because we can, like we said, if we get the work done, then we can cancel the work.
Yeah, the idea of having a professional surveyor pinpointing a few key corners, then when we stretch a tape, we'll know that we're parallel.
Yeah.
Okay,
so we'd like to have it surveyed.
Charlie, I'm suggesting a surveyor's layout, not to be surveyed.
Yes. Well, yes. All right. I'll put a work order in to get a few of the points, key points pinned, flagged, because that can, you know, once the flag is in the ground, hopefully nobody will disturb it, and then you have good points to pull the tapes off of.
As soon as they're there, we'll be there, and we hope we'll get there before the vandals.
Sounds good.
okay, so it is somebody, some of us from the commission will be there whenever.
whenever you tell us to be there.
Yeah. We'll make sure to be out there, and then we'll see what we can get done and scope up the project. Okay, anything else on the layout?
No.
So we've already been discussing the monument restoration project, but as I understand it, the CPC application is something that we do in July or August, is that correct?
Right.
Yes, I believe the CPC meets in September.
Yeah.
Okay, I've been in touch with their staff person,
Oh, right.
and I have a copy of the old one. So somewhere along the line in the next few weeks, maybe Alan and I should look at it and decide whether we just want to take the existing one and bring it up to date with new cemeteries, new
Right.
dates, new amounts, or whether we want to start from fresh.
Right.
But I do have a copy of the old one.
Are we going to go for what we estimate to be all the money we need to
Yes.
continue the thing?
Yeah, exactly. Okay.
Ideally, I think depending on timing, if we could, you know, we'll try to do Quaker Cemetery off of the budget, but I think if we can keep that $70,000 budget from the cemetery lot sales, as an operating cost to do other things outside, because this restoration work will chew up those funds pretty quick.
Yeah.
So if we are able to go to the CBC and get funding for the restoration work, and keep this, you know, this funding for other items that we may need going forward, instead of using it for, you know, I think we could do Quaker because it's a small sum of money. But as we get into these other ones, they'll be quite costly, and I think, you know, we want to keep that as kind of a nest egg for for operational costs, moving forward.
It's agreed. Following on what Charlie just told us, we did have a surge of activity once we opened up, and that built the fund. But I think the ongoing sale of lots, while it will continue, will not be at the same income level that we had last year.
I would agree. Okay, so good. We'll get that taken care of and move on. Potential town cemetery land and long range planning. We at our last meeting in our minutes, we had mentioned briefly about additional land for cemeteries. In the interim, in the last month, I met with Andrew Vorse, and I made the comment to him. I said, the Cemetery Commission, we believe that, with the population increase and so on, that we're going to perhaps need a new cemetery somewhere. And I asked Andrew to keep an eye out for any potential pieces of land that might be suitable for that. He said he would, do that. See if he didn't know of any off the top of his head that might be available. In terms of size, I mean, Pulpus is pretty small. Pulpus is, I think an acre or so, maybe an acre and a half.
I know for certain that the historic college cemetery is supposed to be 1 acre because when the proprietors said it could be fenced, they specified that 1 acre could be fenced. Right. So if you think about the historic college cemetery and you think about the Pulpus cemetery, even though the Pulpus cemetery isn't rectangular, seems to me they're more or less the same size at present.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, we would not be changing the size, we'd be changing the shape.
But anyway, the question is, if the town were to find a piece of land for a new cemetery, how much do we feel that we would need? Exactly,
and that's precisely the question. How big a piece?
I just have a sense that Andrew will tell us that there is no piece of any size on this island available.
Well, the town has lots of odds and ends here and there.
Can't really consolidate them because they're here and there.
Well, the idea would be to find out. First of all, we need to know how big a property we're looking for. I mean, do we want 1 acre? Do we want 5, 10 acres? What would work?
I visualize a step-by-step sequence that begins with rationalizing the ownership of Newtown so that we can get Newtown surveyed, because the original premise was that there were lots to be had in Newtown, the Crispin report. And what we've discovered is that a lot of the places that we thought were barren have got graves in. So if Newtown, if the corner up by Calpon Lake, the cow pond, why then we might be able to visualize 30 or 40 lots available. And we haven't had a lot of requests for full body interment, so that might give us a few years.
Exactly.
If on the other hand, when that's all cleared and we discover that there are graves everywhere, we would need more land. So step by step is what I'm saying.
It's been so long that we've been asking for rationalization of Newtown. So how in the world can we get it done?
Well, Ken Mogrand is the key person on that one, and he's swamped with because the town is doing so much, and unfortunately,
yeah, I know, but we've heard this for a terribly long time now, and it shouldn't be much trouble for them. It should be very, very simple. It just simply has to come before them. They have to say yes, and then let us take it from there.
Our town attorney, town council wants a legally more definitive step. that the select board would be advised by council that this is the thing to do because it had been researched.
Yeah, and that's where the holdup is. It's with the lawyers. Vicky Marsh is one of the associates of the town
But
council.
I really think that we would be in the right to tell them that we have waited a long time. This is getting very pressing and it shouldn't actually consume a lot of their time. And it's high time for them to just do it. It's not a huge thing to get done. And we've
Well-
been waiting a long, long time.
I know. And by the way, I speak with Ken Bogrand fairly often about, different things, but, anyway, he's well aware, and every time he says, "Oh, Vicky Marsh is up to her eyeballs in whatever it is that they're doing now." So anyway, I will continue to encourage Ken to see if they can get the ball rolling up there. But I agree with Lee. I think that,
So that's one part of long-range planning, but there is another part of long-range planning that I don't think we even brought up at our last meeting. And that is to build our future cemetery commission membership. Because there will come a day, and it may not be so far away, that one of us will no longer be able to serve, and we need to have somebody ready to step in. So Barbara and I did a little recruiting bit, and we found one person who continues to be interested. But having one person really isn't enough because Scotty might move to Italy. Something might happen to any one of us. We need to have a lineup of potential cemetery commissioners, and right at the moment, we have at most one. So that, I think that's a crucial part of long-term planning. What would happen if our commission simply is unable to continue to function for lack of membership?
Charlie will do
DPW.
Well,
it. I'm sorry, I'm being facetious.
I've thought about this myself,
I'm
as
sure
I'm
you have.
getting to that point of thinking, how much longer have I got,
As long as I'm here tomorrow.
exactly. And I thought back to when we were organized and how we got, people together and so on. Basically, it was Catherine Stover who, said we need a cemetery commission. She was sort of getting the gears rolling from her position as town clerk, because she knew all the, what had to be done, what the process was to get a commission created. So we formed the cemetery commission work group, and that's how we as a commission came about. And in those early days, I mean, once the word got out that we were looking for people for cemeteries, people came out of the woodwork.
Well, they're
I
not
get
coming,
out.
they're not coming to work now, and one of the problems is that younger people are working. And the way that we meet right now makes it just about impossible for them to join us. So we have to give some serious thought to how the commission going forward can accommodate working people.
Yeah.
So,
Good point. Um,
because when the work group was formed, everybody was a whole lot younger. But now the way that we operate, you have to be somebody retired with a lot of time flexibility to serve on this commission. And if we want to turn to younger people, we have to figure out how to accommodate them.
Yeah, that was, and Fran knows well, that was the discussion about town meeting.
Yes,
right. Well, the main thing is we don't want to leave Scotty here all by himself.
well, I mean, the commission has to have 5 members.
Okay,
If we lose one member, we're in a bad position. But if we were to lose 2 members,
So
we
the,
wouldn't be able to function.
the 3 o'clock starting time was to accommodate DPW, so it could get
We
through the
understand.
game before 3:30.
Yeah, well, I think probably one way to approach it is to, for us to go out into the community and, sound out other people. I mean, that's how,
That's what Barbara and I did, and
Yeah,
we
exactly.
came up with one potential person.
well, I suspect that there are more people out there, and they don't necessarily have to be young people.
Yeah, I agree. I think that you might find out if you, like, three of us did show up for the next meeting or weren't there, that,
Yeah.
and they posted it, that they might get a few people that would think about doing it,
Yeah.
that aren't young, but not necessarily older either. Like, just people that have the time and want to do something.
Yeah, and the people who have the interest.
For me, I'm just lucky I have a job that accommodates being able to do it.
Me too.
Yeah,
I was back in my work.
and Neil encourages it.
I think we do have a good public image. I think that Nantucketers think about it, feel that we're doing a good job.
Mhm.
And that we're active and we get stuff done, even though in the course of our meetings, we get so frustrated about things we can't get done. However, we do get some things done and it's visible to the community, and I think people have a good opinion of us. But, we have to find some people who actually would join us.
Yeah.
We really do.
I've scribbled down NHA, Nantucket Historical Association, because of the way they keep the burial records.
Mhm.
And so unless you know somebody there better than I do, and I don't know a lot of people.
I don't think there's anybody currently on the staff of the NHA who could take on a commission job as well. They're really understaffed and they work so hard.
That's true, but they don't know that we need them. So I'll do some outreach and we'll see what they say.
Yeah, and I'll do the same. I'll spread the word among, my, let's see, 3 or 4 people I know.
Well, I also like pitch it to Lauren, Neil's son, too.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so just put it on these people's radars.
Is he working for Zat?
Yeah. Yeah. And
So his mother checked me in through annual town meeting.
oh, that's right. Yeah. So Neil's done a lot of service.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
that's in Lauren too. So
Yeah. I think that there are people out there that are, they just don't, nobody's mentioned it to them. Hey, how about you are sitting working on the cemeteries? Because it's not a heavy load. I mean, we meet once a month. We, it's not as though it's full-time job or something. It does what it takes, people who have an interest. And that was the key. That's been the key ever since the commission was formed.
So my post is coming back up again, and I had to fill out my paperwork. But how do people know if it's?
They have to
You can
read it in
apply
the
for it.
paper, I think.
Is it in the paper?
Yeah, exactly. And that's why word of mouth, I think, would be effective. Because, we all know people who, in fact, who might be interested in cemeteries.
It's almost like
For me is that I'm also on the board of the Friends of Our Island Home. And the people that I know and work with every day, they're actually also out looking for more people to do heavy lifting with them.
Yeah.
So to those people, I can't very well say, oh, and by the way, there's a cemetery commission. How would you like to do that too?
is there a possibility to expand our board to have an alternate?
Sure.
Yeah, we talked about that with the one person that Barbara has recruited, is to have her as an alternate. The problem has been that she couldn't possibly come
She
to
cannot
our
make the
meetings.
timeline.
Yeah.
Gotcha, yeah.
Scott, for this particular group, it would be a little more difficult than for some of the other committees. As a commission with regulation, it would require a public hearing as opposed to just the select board saying, sure. Remember, roads and right away, we had no problem expanding. It took the select board to do something,
Right.
but we didn't have to have a public hearing and we didn't have to change our regulations.
That's correct. Yeah. Well, but those details can always be worked out. I mean, yeah,
We
that's
need,
why,
we simply need somebody interested enough to come as a participant, sit here and join in all conversation, not feel that they're here by strange privilege.
Mhm.
But,
Well,
here
nor
to-
could we call upon them to fill in if we don't have a time.
Well, we'd have to find out about proxy substitutes.
okay, well, I'll ask Erica what the process would be to
Sure.
bring on an alternate.
So is this the point at which we talk about the headstones for replacement headstones for veterans? I don't quite understand
Well,
why they need to be replaced.
Which,
wait, 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 wait. We're still on item 7, although
Right,
they were
well,
closed today.
As far as long-term planning, just looking at the commission website, it looks like both Alan and Lee are up this year. I
No.
believe. Unless it runs on the fiscal year, it has term expires 2023.
yeah, I think that's right.
Yeah, I just filled out an application. I can't remember. I think I think I did send in an application.
And then it looks like Scotty and Fran are 24 and Barbara is 25.
Yeah.
And I would just say, don't be discouraged. It took me a year to find somebody to agree to come onto the Parks and Rec commission to fill a vacant seat that we had, which was causing troubles with quorums. And I must have reached out to, probably a dozen people that I know personally that are younger and into sports and with kids. So, it can take finding the right person who wants to do the time commitment. And the Parks and Rec Commission, much like this, is not a very heavy load. It's not like the Conservation Commission where you've got very extensive work, but finding someone to give up that hour. And as the DPW side of this, if we need to move the time to accommodate potential new people, I'm open to do so if it pleases the commission.
Yeah, it's a small detail, but an important one. The town is short of conference rooms with good Zoom connections. So this room is workable because nobody else is petitioning to use it. Whereas you got to line up to get into the trailer.
But like I said, if we need to move the time back, I'm more than happy to, adjust my schedule to do so if it means, making it easier for maybe some new people to potentially come and attend.
Okay, old, new, or other business.
Well, that I think is a Dylan Fernandez issue.
Hmm?
Dylan Fernandez has gotten a substantial.
Oh, right.
for-
The-
Well, replacement of veterans' stones, and I mean,
I
And
read
we are
that.
in
and
the
I-
town cemeteries?
the question is, I have no idea. I mean, it's just this announcement that he's gotten this money. Is this going to be administered through the VFW?
Yes, that's what I read in the paper, at least.
Oh,
that
really?
It's gonna be. I was surprised when I first saw the notice, I think it was in the Current or something
Yeah.
like that. And I said, wait a minute, they're replacing stones?
Yeah.
And I said, well, let me find out about this, and of course.
So what did you find out?
Well, what I found out was that Dylan Fernandez had gotten from, I forgot what the agency is, but he got a grant of $25,000 to replace stones for veterans. Now,
Well, in our town
It doesn't make
cemeteries, we've got a lot of stones for veterans, but I don't think,
I don't think any of them
Need
need
to
to
be
be replaced.
I haven't seen one. Maybe
It's
if it gets smashed by a mower or something, but like,
Um,
I haven't had to replace one
I
yet.
think it's odd that as a cemetery commission, we were not involved in this.
Yeah.
Well,
I-
come and ask.
I think Dylan was probably asked by the people at the VFW, can you get us some money for, whatever? And he said, well, oh, here we go, gravestones, But,
But see, that could be-
Can somebody help me? The name of our Veterans Affairs coordinator.
name, sir.
Because I worked with him when we redid the monument. I'll
Um,
find out.
I don't remember.
um, Well,
Okay.
but shouldn't we,
Yeah,
Talk to
well, should
somebody?
we find out? Yeah. Yeah, all right. I'll make a point to find out before the next meeting. Well, I think what I'll do is talk to somebody at the VFW. The guy that I can't remember.
Lee, it looks like it's Ralph Hardy.
Yes,
Oh, Ralph, that's it.
thank you, Charlie.
Okay, well, I'll check with Ralph and see what they have in mind. I mean, because presumably their funds of money is going to them, whether it's the VFW or the other group,
yeah,
Charlie Pierce is in the American Legion.
the American Legion group, yeah.
and if they, yeah, but they can't very well come into a town cemetery and rip up some stone and replace it without. dealing
Well,
with
that's the
us.
thing. They probably,
Want to bet? Remember, they go around every Memorial Day happily planting flags.
Well, that's fine.
Yeah, but we never know about it.
It's all right. I mean, monuments are something else entirely.
yeah.
Do they,
exactly.
is it also for like private cemeteries too? The grant is just given to anyone that wants to replace a veteran stone, no matter where it is?
Well,
Or is it
yeah,
just for the town?
the military provides stones for,
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
yeah, so I'm really not sure as far as.
unless they say they would provide one stone.
Yeah.
For a
Yeah.
veteran.
Well, I'll check with Ralph Hardy and Kelly Pierce and find out what they have in mind, because they will be the ones controlling the funds.
Right.
The
Well, you
money-
know, there are plenty of veterans in Prospect Hill and St. Mary's, but there are also a lot of veterans in the town cemeteries.
Exactly.
And I guess it's none of our business what they do in Prospect Hill and St. Mary's,
Right.
but it very definitely is our business what they
Yeah.
might do in the
Yeah.
town cemeteries.
So, Scott, I'm wondering whether the idea is to make all veteran stones similar with a particular brass insert that says that this is a veteran.
Maybe.
Well, I'll find out. I'll see what how
Right,
they
it's a good
plan to
point.
distribute that money, that $25,000. Maybe if I see Dylan, I'll ask him. I'll say, hey, how about the town cemetery?
Yeah, otherwise it's gonna be sitting there in 20 years.
Is there any money up in Boston that you could
Right.
send down? So we
Well,
could.
yeah, I just like to, I would like to chat with Dylan about this, but anyhow. I also like to bring up that I talked with the women who live across the street from New North Cemetery.
Mhm.
And, you know, you gotta give them credit. They apply themselves to trash pickup on a regular basis,
Mhm.
particularly, the brush in.
Exactly.
So they were very pleased that the fence got extended almost to the stairs and the brush was cut. They did have a couple of things they wanted to say. One was the fence stops a little short of the stairs, and they felt that since those stairs are an access to the cemetery, it's sort of funny to have that gap. That was, the other thing is that the brush that was cut between the fence and Franklin Street, a lot of debris got left on the ground, and they weren't too happy about that. And I was thinking, good Lord, I could go up with a rake and a bag and rake it up. Their idea is that because the steps are an official entrance into the cemetery, that where the brush was cut, all little twigs and stuff that just lie on the ground should be cleaned away, and that the grass on the sides ought to be mowed whenever the cemetery is mowed. They feel that the land between the fence and the street on either side of the steps is part of the cemetery. And they're just afraid it will all go wild again. So I just bring it up. We really owe it to them that they are sort of citizen custodians of that cemetery. And if they feel that the area around the steps up into that corner need a little more attention, we should find some way to give it a little more attention. I, for one, have no problem with taking a rake and a bag up and cleaning up stuff that's lying there. I don't know about their other issues, like,
Well, that's a good point. I do check each of the
I know you
cemeteries.
do.
I try to get up to every cemetery at least once a month. Some.
But when Barbara and I went up to Fountain Cemetery, we filled 2 bags with cans and bottles, and there was one patch of brush we didn't have time to do. It's not very visible once the leaves come out, but back at the end of March, beginning of April, it was. But these neighbors to New North, they live right across the street. It's a year-round thing, and she tells me that they take out bags and bags of bottles and cans of unmentionables from the brush.
I could imagine, because, who would, well, anyway, Tom Montgomery also lives up there, and he has relatives and that's.
Yes, in fact, they mentioned that Tom helps them.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah,
I
I mean, hooray that we have citizen custodians, volunteers who keep an eye on it. That is really good. We should be grateful to them. And if, they expressed the concern that short of the steps, there was brush and the fence didn't go. And then, to my great gratification, the brush got cut and the fence got extended. We should, we should be on the same track with them. They're doing a good job. We should do a good job. We should all be working together.
I agree. By the way, I've noticed cemeteries have been mowed already this season.
Yes.
And they look fabulous. I was at Old North yesterday. I've been at Quaker Cemetery, Malta Cemetery, and they're in great shape.
You must have been chasing the landscapers. Because I believe they mowed the cemeteries yesterday.
Yeah.
That's a new contractor this year who's contracted for the next 3 years.
Great. Well, he's doing a great job. Pass the word on.
Who's that?
What's that?
Who's that?
It's Pathfinder Tree Service.
Okay.
Actually, they're an off-island company. They were awarded the cemetery contract and the town facilities contracts, and then we have a different company who's doing the town parks this year.
Good. Okay, old or other business at this point?
So, Fran, you made the point of all that, but that's just now going to be put on our radar as far
Yes,
as.
exactly.
Yeah.
It's in our minutes.
Yeah.
We definitely will follow up on all these things. Good. Okay, well, if there's nothing else to come before the commission this afternoon, we are at the end of our agenda, and the meeting is adjourned.
Charlie, before you hang up, I've got guests coming in the summer and they want to know about tennis. Do we have any public courts besides the jetties?
Jetties is the only public court at the moment. When are they arriving?
August.
Oh, okay. Yeah, the jetties courts will be fully up, but right now we only have one net up. We just for so they don't all get abused by the kind of preseason winds here. But we'll have that courts will be up and operational probably in 2 weeks fully.
I noticed the beautiful freshly painted sign at the corner of North B Street and whatever the street is that goes down Journeys. It says restaurant, tennis, beach, all freshly painted, just put up. So I said, boy, I hope the tennis courts are really going to be operative.
See you, Charlie.
Yeah, we'll have them open, and I'll be going to Capital Committee in September to seek funds to completely reconstruct them.
Wow.
Yeah, I think we should. I know there's issues about water and coastal resilience, but they're very much a part of the attraction of the island to our visitors.
Yeah, it was one of those things we were kind of waiting to have our coastal resiliency work done in terms of the jetties concession facility. Because there was the thought that if we had to relocate the facility due to water rise and sea level rise, that it might end up in essentially the tennis court in the parking lot. We now know that that's not the case. And so we now I feel comfortable going ahead with seeking the capital to reconstruct, 30-year-old tennis courts. Which unfortunately, because of the age, can no longer be resurfaced. They need to be completely reconstructed at this point. So,
Thank you, Charlie.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Charlie.
Charlie.
all right, have a great day, everybody, and I will see you all in a month.
All
Yeah.
right, thanks, Charlie.
The little white spot is called Mohs microsurgery.
Oh, you got Mo's?
Oh, I had it done ages ago.
Well, the dermatologist got me too, so.
That's what I thought.
But they give you the green light right there, don't they, with the Mo's?
What they do is they excise the very least that they think is appropriate.
Yeah.
They
Yes.
bandage you up temporarily and send you out to the waiting room, which looks like a war microscope a bit more. I think we took out